and welcome to CYC News for the 7th of May 2017 and the 29th of Barramord 17:33 a.m. I'm Justine Tuadros, and in today's headlines, Toronto rips apart church and spares parishioners praying in the hallway. Coptic Church in Sydenham, Australia is set on fire under suspicious circumstances. US-led strikes against ISIS have killed at least 352 civilians. Aeroflot turbulences leaves passengers with fractures and bruises. And smartphones orders bodies to treat diabetes. Cristiano Ronaldo, the numbers that define a Champions League legend. To our top story, parishioners dropped to the floor and fought the wind to seal the doors to their hallway refuge as a tornado ripped apart their church on Saturday night. About 45 people, including toddlers and students, were at the parish hall of St. John the Evangelist Catholic Church in Ermini, and a town outside of Dallas, Texas, when they received warning that a tornado was approaching. They decided to take refuge in a hallway between the parish hall and the main part of the church. Monica Hughes, a youth minister who was amongst those gathered at the hall to honour high school graduates, said, "About 30 seconds after we went into the hallway, it hit." Monica told CNN that she and her husband held on tight to double doors to keep them shut. Through a small set of the windows on the doors, they could see the tornado ripping apart their worship place. "We could see the beams bending and the aluminium roof being ripped away. Everybody dropped to the floor and protected one another. As soon as the worst was over, we began to sing to keep the kids calm. Everyone was perfectly calm and we felt like it was going to be okay." Monica said that throughout the chaos, they prayed, monitored the storm and stayed in place for nearly 2 hours before emergency services arrived. They were then moved away because of the downed power lines and a gas leak. In Coptic news, on Saturday, April 29, 2017, His Holiness Pope Tawadros II arrived in Milano Airport to participate in the Conference of the European Priests that was held in the hospitality of Milano Diocese. His Holiness was accompanied by His Grace Bishop Makar, Bishop of Sharqiya and 10th of Ramadan, Egypt, His Grace Bishop Bavli, General Bishop of Montaza Provinvir Churches, Egypt, and Ahugumen Angelos Ishak, the Secretary of His Holiness Pope Tawadros. In Australia, the first Coptic church at Sydenham has been set on fire on Tuesday night. St. Mary and St. Mina's Church was the first Coptic church purchased outside of the Nile Valley. The fire is being treated as suspicious and is under investigation by the New South Wales Police. According to the fighters who attended the scene, the structure had very little minimal damage. The inside has no evidence of soot or remnants of fire. The only type of damage was a very small amount and some flooring at the front of the church next to the altar. The altar remains untouched. Witnesses are baffled as to how such a large fire didn't impact the structure or inside of the church. The Inner West Council have been wanting to demolish this church for quite some time, but the Australian Coptic Heritage and Community Services have been speaking out to persevere the building as part of the Australian history. Immediately preceding the fire, the council sent a letter to ACHCS informing them that they will begin dismantling the walls of the church, deeming it unsafe despite no official report being provided about the structure and condition of the church after the blaze. Prominent leaders have spoken about suspicious happenings and the aftermath dealing of Inner West Council, specifically Reverend Fred Nile, leader of the Christian Democrats, Dr. Clive Lucas, the president of the National Trust, and Coptic Bishop Daniel, the abbot of the monastery, Bishop Cyril, Bishop of Melbourne. More on this story as it unfolds. In other news, coalition strikes against ISIS in Iraq and Syria have likely killed at least 352 civilians since the start of the operation almost 3 years ago, according to the US military. The numbers contained in the monthly civilian casualty report of the Combined Joint Task Force Operation Inherent Resolve extend through March. Inherent Resolve is the US-led assault against the Islamist State that kicked off in August 2014. The task force said in a statement, "We regret the unintentional loss of civilians' lives resulting from coalition efforts to defeat ISIS in Iraq and Syria and express our deepest sympathies to the families and others affected by these strikes." The 352 deaths mark a significant increase over the 229 civilians' deaths that were counted through the end of February. The military also said 42 reports of civilians' casualties remain under review, including several last month in Mosul, where there have been reports of many civilians' deaths. In the United States, deadly storms that swelled through the central US over the weekend are moving east Monday, putting close to 80 million people at risk of severe weather. At least 15 people were killed and a dozen more injured as storms tore through Texas, Missouri, Arkansas, and Mississippi, spawning tornadoes and floods that left a trail of devastation. In Arkansas, the search continued for two children separated from their mother after their car was swept away by floodwaters. Madison County Sheriff Rick Evans told CNN affiliate TV station KHOG that the search switched to one of recovery rather than rescue of the 4-year-old and 18-month-old children. The woman told disputes her car was pushed off the road and into a river in Hinesville. She was able to escape the car but couldn't save the children in the fast current after she left the vehicle. As some 100 volunteers scoured the rivers and its banks with help from a helicopter crew above, Evans said, "We're probably looking at a recovery effort. The ways things happened. I hate to look at it that way. We're hoping for the best." At least 27 passengers were injured when an Aeroflot from Moscow to Bangkok, Thailand hit severe air turbulences on Monday. So 24 Russians and 3 Thais were hurt, with some suffering serious fractures and bruising when the plane unexpectedly hit an air hole during its approach to Sydenham airport, according to the statement from the Russian embassy in Bangkok. The embassy said some injured passengers were not wearing seat belts. All victims were taken to a local hospital with various injuries, mostly fractures and bruises. Some required surgery, while 15 people remain hospitalized. The Airport Authority of Thailand said in a press release that 30 passengers had been injured during the flight, with 27 individuals transferred to a hospital in Bangkok, while 3 chose to seek their own treatment. It added that the Boeing 777 was traveling with 318 passengers and 14 crew, and that it was stuck with turbulences as it flew over Myanmar. Turkey has blocked access to Wikipedia over linking the nation to terror activity, the government announced, according to the state-run Anadolu agency. Articles and comments on the popular online Wikipedia showed Turkey in the coordination and allied with terrorist groups. It has become part of an information source which is running a smear campaign against Turkey in the international arena, the ministry said. Turkey warned in Wikipedia to remove such content, but the non-profit encyclopedia refused, the government said. Once Wikipedia meets Turkey's demands, the access ban will be lifted, it said. In health news, scientists have used a smartphone to control the activity of the living cells inside an animal. The fusion of biology and technology was used to control blood sugar levels in mice with diabetes. The idea, described in Science Transitional Medicine, could be applied to a wide range of diseases and drug treatments. And the Chinese researchers say that the approach could pave the way for a new era in medicine. The first step was to turn normal cells into living factories. They were genetically engineered to manufacture drugs that control blood sugar levels such as insulin, but only in response to light. The technology is called optogenetics, and these cells would kick into gear when exposed to specific wavelengths of red light. Then comes the tech, a set of wireless powered LEDs and a smartphone app to control them. Researchers at East China Normal University in Shanghai implanted the system into mice and were able to control diabetes with the tap of a touchscreen. The team said that the findings could pave the way for a new era of personalized, digitalized, and globalized precision medicine. Their ultimate goal is a fully automated system that both detects sugar levels and then releases the right amount of therapeutic chemicals. Professor Mark Gomsky, a molecular biologist from the University of Birmingham, said the study was an exciting accomplishment, and the work provides a glimpse into the future of smart cell-based therapeutics. To sport, well, he made sure to praise the efforts of the team, but once again, Cristiano Ronaldo fully warranted an admiring glance in the mirror. Some people were writing him off, but on Tuesday night, he was proving them wrong on the biggest stage of all. Ronaldo's match-winning display in a 3-0 win against Madrid saw the Portuguese become the first player in history to score back-to-back hat-tricks in the Champions League's knockout stage. Under the backdrop of the blood-red Bernabeu skyline, the 32-year-old put Los Blancos, local rival, to the sword in the semi-final first leg, taking more shots than the entire Atletico team, finishing the night with more Champions Leagues goals to his name than Los Colchoneros have scored in the entire 114-year history of the club. What an achievement, Mr. Ronaldo. And that's all for CYC News. A reminder that you can watch the news bulletin again throughout the week on YouTube. I'm Usain Tuadros from the CYC studios in Sydney, Australia. Have a good night.